Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Good Old Podcast. I'm Jack Frenchuli for OGHoo's 24/7, and as you can see, we have a guest on this week's show. Everyone has been asking for DJ to return to the show. It's been a year, DJ, since you've been on the show, and if you don't know who this is DJ Wright, also known as OGHoo on Twitter. A pretty funny follow and a very good follow for Virginia fans to kind of find on Twitter. DJ, thanks so much for joining us.
Ain't no problem, you know. It's part of the deal. This is us revving up to get ready for the season. So
yeah, for sure. And it's been an active off season, DJ, for UVA. Active in the transfer portal. You know, getting fans getting excited for a newer look offense. A lot of new guys on that side of the ball. You were at the spring game. You got to see some of these new faces. Oh, yeah. What's your first initial reaction?
My first initial reaction, you know, coming off of the season that we just had, you know, and the shape and the form, the magnitude of that season, the impactfulness of that season, it was good to see the team play football again, and I got a sense of the team playing free, if that makes sense, with a lot of the incohesiveness that we had last year, a lot of the bumps and the chains that were broken last year. It seemed like they were happy to be playing football. They looked together, and everyone just looked. Even the fans. It was a good environment. It was a very good environment. So that cranked my excitement back up. Let me be ready for the season again, for real. I was going to be ready regardless, but that let me know, you know, no matter what happens and no matter what you do, it's all about this hoop. And that's exactly what I got from that.
Yeah, definitely more than just football on that day. A lot of emotions for the players as we remember the Mike Collins first touchdown. But speaking of just the football, I know last year we came in here and we did a game-by-game breakdown. We kind of went over the predictions, and that was very popular with a lot of people. So we figured we would bring you back, so we kind of do that. And we're going to go through with ESPN's latest FPI projections for Virginia's 2023 season. So we're going to start with game one. And for those of you who don't know, DJ also has a podcast on the Roll Up Network called The Hill. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But this is not the only place you get to find DJ. So first game is Tennessee. ESPN is giving it a 9.6% chance for Virginia to win that game. So obviously the Vols is very highly favored. And I get it. SEC competition is going to be in a quote-unquote neutral site in Nashville, Tennessee. So obviously there's going to be a lot of fans coming in from Knoxville to watch that game. They do have some highly rated talent. Now, the part where I'm kind of, I'm not choosing UVA to win here. I'm going to choose Tennessee. I'm just going to be transparent there. But they do have key players gone from that offense. And Virginia's defense is going to be the strength at the beginning of the year because they have the most veterans returning. So when you look at that Virginia D-line, you think, hey, they might win the battle of the trenches, get Joel Milton on his back foot early, give the offense a chance to assimilate to the game, assimilate to the noise. What are your thoughts there, DJ?
I'm going to pick Tennessee with that one, but put on my Lee Corso. Not so fast. Not so fast. It's a lot that goes into this game, you know. I'm a gambler, man. I take Virginia to cover. I don't even know what the spread would be. I'm pretty sure they're going to put it at like minus 17.5. I'm taking that.
I think it's like over 20 points right now.
Yep, I'm taking all of that. And on the simple premise of this, you have a brand new offensive line, or a lot of key pieces on that offensive line that moved for Tennessee. You have a structured, well-oiled defensive line that has a lot of depth, that beyond the first 3 to 4, you're going to get the next 3 to 4, and it's going to be the equivalent. So I think that's going to be a battle in itself. You know, they lost Jalen Hyatt to the NFL. They had, I don't know if they had any wide receivers hit the portal or not. But either way, you got a new quarterback with new wide receivers, which is a new rapport. We have a new secondary. in which we all have seen and we all believe and have the faith in Rudd and Coach Cox. You know, their ability to coach the DBs, because we saw a transformation in the defense in itself last year. So if we put that offensive line versus our defensive line, I like our chances. I think the game will come down to turnovers. Beyond turnovers, you know, UVA we can't get ourselves in a situation like we found ourselves in so many times last year, where, you know, we're getting multiple 3-and-outs and we're not generating any points whatsoever, from missed field goals to missed opportunities, drop balls, missed passes, missed blocks. Is a whole thing that was going on last year, you know. So it'll be very interesting to see. I can't solely write us off and say we'll go out there and get our ass kicked. I can't do that. We can't do that because of just the matchups within the trenches. Of course, it'll be a good matchup to see they formidable defensive line versus our offensive line. We got a lot of new pieces in that situation. Mm-hmm. So either way, something's going to give on either side, but I don't think it'll be a blowout as much as Vegas does. That's at least what I hope.
Yeah, that's a tough opening game for Virginia on the schedule for a new quarterback, a new offensive line, to kind of get to know each other on a game day atmosphere. But the second game of the season, that's going to be a lot of things will be going on. Not only are you playing an in-state team in James Madison, JMU, you're obviously going to see a lot of fans show up for this game, but the emotional aspect of this game, the first home game at Scott Stadium since last November's shooting and tragic events, this is going to be very emotional for this team too. ESPN is choosing Virginia at a 66.8%. Not a high percentage, but it's definitely a favorite for Virginia. I agree there. I think Virginia has more talent on the field than JMU. I think this is going to be more than football, though, DJ. I think the reason to highlight this game is what's the important part of this game is not just those touchdowns, is what this means for this fan base and for these players to play their first official game at Scott Stadium.
Oh, yeah. I think that's one that I got in the W column. But I don't think it'll be an easy write-off. JMU, they've been doing really well over there in the mountains. I like JMU. I like the whole atmosphere. I had a lot of fun out there back in the day, going to visit JMU on the drunk bus, shout it out. And it was very fun. That was fun. They have a very good system. People love it. It's a great town. I'm cool with that. But we're going to give them the business that day. It ain't personal, but it's just business. You know, you got to start off strong and fast at home versus an in-state team where you have to show that you're a flagship school. They want to use the term and the phrase so much, a flagship school. This is a game that you can consider one of those where you can start pouring the mortar and the concrete. Just to remind them, I know you moved up, but don't forget, if you look broke, go put your laundry away. Go do everything before mom get home. Don't get yourself in trouble. So I think we need to go handle business. I think we take that game. Like I said, I think it'll be a close game because they done close the gap. They done close the gap recruiting wise, talent wise. They closed the gap some. They've closed the gap from a real perspective. They closed the gap, so it won't be a pushover game. If they come in high-headed thinking they run the city, it'll be just like, I can't remember. I think it was like 2008 or 9, some along them lines. Maybe later than that. It had to be later than that. When Virginia Tech and JMU went out there and they beat Virginia Tech, I was at JMU that day. A glorious scene. It'll be just like that. We don't want that here. We don't want that here. I promise.
Yeah, I feel like UVA's margin of error is going to be much smaller in the beginning of the year until that offensive line works that chemistry together with Tony Muskett. So the margin of error is going to be tiny for the first few weeks, and it depends on how much depth they build in that O-line and how comfortable they are with that rotation there, how much that margin of error will grow as the season goes on. But this is going to be an interesting matchup the next week, where they're at Maryland for now a Friday night game. Originally, it was slated to be Saturday. Now it's moved to Friday night. So a short week between JMU and Maryland. It's a rivalry that's been renewed. It's the last time they faced each other was when Mike London was the head coach at Virginia, and they was at College Park as well. This is an interesting matchup for Virginia because this will test that Coach Rudd defense because of the passing offense that the Terps will bring. They bring in a very experienced quarterback who's completed like 69% of his passes last year. ESPN has it as a 19.7% win for Virginia. So obviously they're favoring Maryland.
I had to move my seat back. I was rubbing my hands. I was waiting.
I figured this was coming.
We been waiting, baby. We been waiting. Trust me, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to do my part and make sure we know how important this game is. Beyond Virginia Tech, there you got two other rivals other than Virginia Tech. UNC, don't nobody care about no stinky feet. Nobody cares about the little foot logo. We don't. Maryland, we on a whole nother level there. Yeah, they ran to the Big Ten because they was tired of getting their head kicked in. So I understand them though, but they can't run anymore. I do think they will get this game. You know, their offense, of course, is established. Raheem Jarrett, 5-star wide receiver. You know, they got the little Tua little brother. But I'm gonna tell you, he gonna learn that day. He gonna learn a lesson that day. Tua little brother, you listening? Any Maryland fan, you listening? You can bookmark it. You can stash it away. I don't care what you do. He's gonna learn that day. This is me looking at you, telling you. He's going to learn that day. It's all about VA. Let me do it this way. There we go. On the camera. You can see it. It's all about VA forever. We're trying to peel the shell off that back. Escargot is being served for everybody. And the people that don't know, that is turtle soup. Disgusting, by the way. Don't ever eat it. Filthy. Filthy. Don't do that.
I will say he's going to certainly remember the name of Chico Bennett and Cam Butler and Virginia's pass rush.
I'm definitely glad that game and that series is back on. They might can take the first one. I'm with that. I'm with that. We got a lot to gel, but don't accidentally let TGP come out and be super hot and the offensive line be a little bit gritty, which I kind of got a feeling because Big Bowley's back, and then we got Ugana and Stevens, and there's a little bit of continuity. That's a word I can't stand right now as a Chicago Bulls fan. That's what we want to preach is continuity with some of those old players. Disgusting. Makes my stomach hurt. But in this situation, continuity could be a big thing. And who knows? Like I said, if they can come out and be a decent offense and take advantage of what's given to you. A turnover inside the opponent's, 20. Take advantage of the situation you're given. Then anything can happen. Anything can happen. But yes, I do have Maryland as a W. It disgusts me. It hurts me to say it. It makes my stomach curl up like I've been drinking old milk for days. It's disgusting. But yes. But I'm really looking forward to that game. That's going to be a fun game that that's a series Virginia needed to back right there.
Especially with recruiting, in the DMV and North Virginia area.
Yes.
The Baltimore area. It's definitely will help get, some more eyes on those recruiting battles that Virginia is currently having against Maryland. Several prospects, Virginia is going head to head against Maryland and obviously Virginia Tech, but Maryland has been involved in many of those prospects that are expecting visitors, this next few weeks. So yeah, definitely a big one to keep an eye on. The next game is a very interesting matchup, another Friday night game, the first ACC game of the year. What a first ACC game, DJ. North Carolina State, NC State, obviously the return of Robert and I, Coach 2J, Brendan Armstrong. All these guys are going to Scott Stadium. My story is already written for I already wrote it already as soon as the schedule was out. I mean, it's you can't get any better first game of the ACC for a reporter. Anyways, I think Virginia would like to have maybe a couple more games going into it after a tough early start of the schedule. But NC State is coming in, and obviously there's a lot of questions on the offense. I feel like it's the same thing that the Virginia is facing. A lot of question on the offense, and returning a very good defense. They both are kind of having the same type of entry into the season. But at the same time, the Pack lost two great linebackers in Isaiah Moore and Drake Thomas. How good is Brendan Armstrong going to be with NC State? Is he going to be the 2-year version of Brendan? Is he going to be BA that we saw last year? Is he going to see BA that we saw 2 years ago? So ESPN has NC State as the highly favored team at 27% for Virginia to win. I get it. I really do. I think NC State might sneak this win at Scott Stadium, but you know what? I am this close to picking UVA. It's kind of one of those situations where I want to see how UVA starts off the season, because I can see UVA sneaking that win if everything starts to gel, because I don't like when you look at NC State, I have more about the same questions that I do at UVA on offense, but I feel better about UVA's defense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I'm trying so hard to like keep a straight face and keep it going. I knew this one when this game was coming. I knew I was gonna smirk and laugh. All I got to say is this, man. I know BA, baby Tebow, you know, he coming back. He coming back home. And he gonna try and show off. 2J gonna have his guys hyped up for this game. You know what I'm saying? Robert. You know, we about to be facing like the 2017, 2018 version of UVA. Yeah, I'm saying. But I do want to throw in a little minor ad. MJ Morris, if you're feeling left out, you know who to call. Do you know who? Do you know who? Call us. We will cater to you. Go Hoos. I think it's gonna be a game we win for sure. I think
if there was an upset on this schedule, that would be one of them that I would circle.
Yeah, we didn't play NC State real good, and I love NC State too. That's a good area. I go down to Raleigh all the time. I have fun when I go down there. But again, it ain't personal; it's business. And myself, I'm picking us to win that game off the premise that I know what you coming with, because I know you for 6-7 years, player. I know what you got, your highs and your lows. and it would not. Hey, somebody was like, it's gonna be so funny when he tries a tackle screen. I was like, please try it, please. You're gonna be amped up. He probably gonna try to call the best offensive game of his career.
We're breaking down the games here. DJ Wright and me are breaking out the season, but I feel like I want to see the odds of throwing to an offensive lineman in the red zone. Yeah. How high those odds are in Vegas for this game. I think that's what I want to know. That's going to be. So I think that joke's never going to die in Charlottesville. I think that joke's going to just stay forever. I feel like I'm never going to stop listening to it.
The offensive lineman pass is the equivalent of my boy hanging over the wall when Notre Dame scored that touchdown. The biggest oof moment ever. Big oof. Unbelievable. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And that reason is circling us right back to be together. So I think overall, we done played NC State well, period, the last couple of years. The only thing I don't want to see out that whole game is I don't want to see Brendan run the ball. Not versus these guys on defense. All right?
Yeah, that's where I think Virginia might be a little bit in trouble there. Until this is the thing. The early preseason projections is hard sometimes because you have so many questions, and the linebacker group is obviously a question that I have with Nick Jackson no longer there. I want to know what's going to happen. But looking at that linebacker group, there's a lot of great talent there. You have Steve Bracey, you have Trey McDonald, you have a lot of these young talent up and comer, and then you have guys that have done this before. The other Jackson, James Jackson, you also you have Josh Ahern back, so you have a lot of linebackers, but they know Brennan. So this is the thing, so it's going to be a lot of familiarity.
They gonna be ready for him. The LBC.
But I'm like you. I'm like you. I think if there's going to be an upset, I have 2 games on upset on the schedule, and this is one of them. So on the upset watch. So this is definitely one of them. And then the next game is going to be at Boston College. ESPN has it at a 40.5% likelihood that Virginia wins. Honestly, that's close. There's giving a slight edge to the Eagles, and I think that's just because they're the home team. But honestly, I can see, again, this is all about how quickly this offense gels together. This is a winnable game for Virginia, but it is a road game, and UVA has struggled on the road. So it's one of those things. On paper, I can see Virginia winning this. If it was at Scott Stadium, I would have no doubt, and I would put UVA as my projection because it's at home at Scott Stadium. But because it's on the road, it's harder for me to choose UVA. But matchup wise, UVA should win this.
Oh yeah, I'm picking us to win. That's who I'm picking.
Then we have William and Mary, where we know we're going to choose Virginia in that one. So we're going to take a quick break here because this is actually the bye week after William and Mary. So good time to take a quick break. And then we'll come back. And then it's the 2 games that I feel like every year Virginia might steal one. At North Carolina, at Miami. So we'll continue those predictions after we get back. And welcome back to the Good Old Podcast. I'm Jackie Truly for OGHoo 24/7. That is DJ Wright, also known as OGHoo or known as RVAHoo. Before that account got suspended on you, unrightful. Right. So you need that account back. Twitter, let it happen. He's also Elon Musk. Let it happen. Get back RVAHoo. You are RVAHoo on OGHoo 24/7 though.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So you still kept that old name there. So if you see him in OGHoo's 24/7 message boards, he is the original RVAHoo, and he's also has his own podcast on the Roll Up Network called The Hill that he will be bringing back for this upcoming season. So we were breaking down the schedule for Virginia's 2023 season, and we are coming back from the bye week, which has 2 really big games for Virginia. I think it always feels like Virginia has these 2 back-to-back, and it always is one of the toughest parts of the schedule. The good news, they do have that bye week, and they have William and Mary, and then the bye week. No disrespect to William and Mary, but it's a nice 2-week time for Virginia to kind of recuperate from a very, very tough start to the season. And when I look at this, you see at North Carolina, ESPN gives it a 13.8% chance of winning, and at Miami, they give a 13.4% chance of winning. So ESPN is highly favoring those 2 ACC teams. And I get it. It's on the road. And again, like I just said against Boston College, if that game was on the road, if I was at home, I would feel differently. I think Virginia can steal one of those games because, one, I've seen Miami play last year. And until Coach Cristobal in Miami shows a good quality product on the field, recruiting rankings won't win you games. So Miami still's got that question mark on there. There's definitely a talent gap there. So when you think of Miami and UNC, there's always questions on that defense. So yes, they have a lot of good offensive playmakers coming back, obviously with Drake May, but UNC's defense, I believe, ranked dead last in the ACC last year. So I think UVA can sneak one of those wins, either at UNC or at Miami. Again, this all has to come. Everything has to come together. Virginia's always going to have a small margin of error, but I think they can steal one. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think they can steal one. And before we go on to them, I got to shout out, the home team again, William and Mary. Shout out Big London, Mike London and Lil London, Mike and his son over there. Coach Carter, they got a bunch of good coaches over there. Matt Johns. I don't know if Razak Dowlin's still over there or not, but he was over there on the staff too. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, that's a win. William and Mary, we already know. Gonna change that diaper. Let's go. We gotta get you. It ain't personal. We love you, but it's just business. But UNC, yeah, I feel like their defense might actually be a little better. But then again, they lost Cam Kelly to the transfer portal by way of Virginia, by way of Louisville. So Cameron's gone. You know what I'm saying? They lost Tony Grimes. I think he's gonna go snap down there in Texas A&M. He done got down there with a good system. I think he's gonna be pretty good. I think he's gonna be pretty good and go on next level and be pretty consistent. But as far as that UNC defense, I don't know nobody over there. Nobody else. They got to make a name for themselves. But, I mean, he was dead last, so you got to maybe get better. Maybe they'll be second to last. But, and at the same time, there's a chance the offense could fall apart because, they lost Josh Downs, who was such a major and intricate part to that system. You know what I'm saying? Besides running the precise routes and being there every time, on time, all the time for Drake May, you might somebody there who might be there sometimes half the time and no time. But then again, that's another Virginia guy, Andre Ricardo over there. Big wide receiver from St. Christopher's over there. He's a real one. Shout him out. Oh, you want to come on home? Call us. But I think we still that one. And the Miami game is going to be sort of along the same lines that we're facing. Until Tony can put a consistent product on the field. Tyler, you ain't no different. You are who we thought you were. 2 years in a row, bub. 2 years in a row, you done been the same TVD, and I don't understand what they're crying about, what they talking about. You this and you that. So it's been a lot of cap going on. So he's a good ball player, but hey, I can't call it. I'm gonna say the same thing when I go on the big three. Shout them boys out, Larry on. I'm gonna tell you the same thing. You got to prove to me, big dog, just like we got to prove. So I think the UNC game we should win. I think Drake's gonna put up numbers, but again, we have a defense that I think can win games this season. And that's expecting that the offense can again take advantage of the situations that are given to you. You get the ball inside day 20 on a turnover, get some points. You get some points. You can't not.
Yeah, the Virginia defense is going to give you opportunities.
Yes. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities in this game. Again, a lot of these predictions are so hard this year because we haven't seen the product actually. We've seen the spring game, but
it's everyone. It's also because there's so many transfers too. So it's hard to figure out how these transfers, like Louisville, we're going to talk about Georgia Tech first, but Louisville's down the way, and they had so many transfer portal guys. So when you're looking at their roster, like most of these players weren't even there. So it's definitely a different vibe when you're doing these preseason predictions. It's a little harder doing it because there's so many new older faces on the team. But before we get to Louisville, they face Georgia Tech, which ESPN has them favored by 52.6% on their FPI. I agree with that. I picked Virginia in this game too. It's going to be at home after those two away. I picked Virginia against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm picking Virginia. That's us all the way. Georgia Tech, y'all still trying to find yourself.
If you had asked me maybe last December or January, I would say Virginia had a little bit of a more better chance, especially under the former head coach at Louisville. But this game at Louisville against new Coach Brom, and all of the, Jeff Brom hit that transfer portal hard. It's hard for me not to pick Louisville because of that, because of what talent they were able to bring. Again, for them is, can you gel so many transfers in one bit? So that's the question for Louisville. They have the talent now. Can they make it work? Well, I think Louisville's going to be one of the most improved teams in the ACC, just looking out as of right
now. I'm going us with a dub on that one. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go with it on this one. I'm going in on Louisville. All that Papa John's and KFC Yum Money, they finna leave with all of it. You paid them and they leaving with all of it because you know what you did. You went and bought the worst defense. You bought the most The worst defensive backfield in the ACC last year is what you did. And I seen one of them up close. So we going to call it I seen them. I seen them. So ain't nobody got to tell me about one of them. Besides seeing them for the Sky Blue guys, I seen them. I seen it. And you went and bought them. You got it? Okay. Put your money where your mouth is. We going to see it. Because I think we owe you one from the substitute teacher that y'all put in and y'all beat us with. That was disrespectful. Disrespectful. We lost to the substitute teacher. They put that guy in and he torched us. So we owe him a favor. We owe them a favor. And I don't think they defense, I don't care who you went and bought. They ain't buy enough 5-stars yet. All right. I'm still waiting to learn how to turn a toilet into gold. Because I can't do it. I can't do it. So, W.
Okay. So the next game is a game that I think this year is gonna mean a lot more to Virginia fans than I think normally would. Just a vibe that I'm getting on the message boards. It's Duke at home at Scott Stadium. I think because of the recruiting battles that are occurring between both programs lately, I think this one's going to mean more for a few Virginia fans now, more so than I think in the last few years. Right now, ESPN is giving the edge to Duke to take the win on the road at Scott Stadium. Yeah, they have Virginia at only a 41.4% chance of winning. So not an override. It's not like highly favored here, Duke. Like Louisville is only 21% chance of winning for Virginia. This is 41% chance. And I get it. Duke is returning Riley Leonard at quarterback. So you have that experienced guy under center. So I get it. And if you look last year, Virginia didn't perform well against the Blue Devils in Durham. So again, I get it. I still might pick Virginia over Duke because at that point, you're hoping that the Virginia offense is clicking a lot better than it was last year at this point against the Blue Devils. I think it's one of those situations where I think Virginia has the talent in this game to win. And if you look at the matchups, it looks good. It's going to be a close game because Elko has done a great job in that program too. But I could see UVA winning this one.
Yeah, that's crazy. The fact that they picked to win in your house, this is a message that I have here for my coaches, my staff. They picked Duke to win at your house. And we ain't talking Coach K basketball. We're talking football. And you know why that is? Because they dragged y'all last year. They ran up and down the field, beat you at the point of attack. They beat you every single way last year. Every single way possible. Come on.
I think that was the worst game for UVA. That one and Pitt were the two that stand out from last year.
Yep. That Duke game was one of the worst.
You can't even say because at Miami at least you can say the defense played a good game. I mean, and special teams too. To be fair to them, I think if I remember correctly, that was just overall. It was nothing went right for them in that game against Duke. It was just, I mean, heck, I think the team didn't even have power the night before because of the hurricane came through in North Carolina. So they didn't even have power leading up to that night in the game. I mean, nothing went right for that team.
That's disgusting business. Disgusting business. Coaches, y'all listening. That can never happen again. Ever. Disgusting business. We don't even need to go into the details of that game. Shout out John Burton over there at Duke. I see what you're doing on the trail, but we gonna butt heads real soon, especially after this game. Jamion Franklin, I believe, is still on the D line. That was once like a UVA silent, and we all know it's silent season. Shh, don't tell it. Let's let it play out. Yeah, Jamion Franklin he went to Notre Dame and then transferred to Duke. You know, you lost a head-to-head battle for Samaj last year. You're losing a couple more as we speak. Hey, coaches, do the right thing. Foot and butt. That's it. We ain't talking lacrosse. We ain't talking basketball. We ain't talking golf. We ain't talking diving. We're not talking Coach K basketball because we all know they sorry now. They sorry now. We're done. We're done with them now. So we gonna make it make sense from here on out. We should not. Vegas better never ever favor Duke. Duke better sign like 99 5-stars before that happen, and your roster can't even be that big before they favor Duke over us again.
So I'm guessing you're picking UVA over in this game.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think we take this one for sure. I think the players are gonna be just as fired up. They haven't forgot, you know.
No,
that their defensive line was there.
That defense is going to take it personal a little bit. I think they're going to take it personal.
Yeah. And you don't even need to watch the film. You know how you looked and you felt after that game. You went and sat on the bus to go home on a plane. You got beat up by a bunch of nerds. They took it to you. They smacked you with all the books right upside the head multiple times. Yeah, they're gonna be pretty upset. I believe so, in my heart anyway. But again,
yeah. Well, this one's gonna be a fun one for you to talk about. It's the last game of the year. Virginia Tech. So the Hokies are favored by ESPN. Virginia is likely to win. Again? Yes, but I mean, talk about a toss-up percentage from ESPN. I mean, they have Virginia losing. I mean, their chance of winning at 49.9%. I mean, it's not like they're favoring Virginia Tech. I mean, this is a toss-up. I mean, no, ESPN doesn't even want to touch this game because they don't even know. Yeah, I honestly, out of like looking at this game. Again, it's too early. They both have new pieces coming in this year. I think Virginia's offense, on paper, has the ability to be better. So you would give a little bit of the edge to Virginia because they're home. So actually, I would do the opposite of ESPN and give just a 0.1% edge to Virginia over Virginia Tech at this point because of the home field advantage.
We know who I'm taking. It's not even a question.
I know. There's not even a question. I shouldn't even ask this question. I should just write down Virginia.
Last year, we'd have beat you. Now, unless Grant Wells is going to turn from Matt Johns to like Gerard Evans, get him out of here. He's nothing. He stinks. All right, he stinks. What's the guy you got from Baylor? You got him from Baylor because he got beat out by somebody else and he couldn't beat a sorry quarterback who just won 3 games. Stinks. It stinks, man. It stinks. You can win. If Twitter could win games, y'all would have been in the college football playoff every year. But you know what? It don't win a thing. You got a great entrance, but you ain't at home that year. And we owe you something for that stinky backup lineman, that practice squad lineman on my Cowboys that they need to go ahead and cut. Plant that flag at our 50-yard line. Op Hoffman. That's what I'm going to call him. Op Hoffman. Planting that flag on our field. We owe you one. We owe him.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to win that game.
So right now, when you look at the schedule, I mean, it seems like we both are. So Caesars has UVA at 3.5 games for this year as how much they're expecting them to win. And it looks like ESPN's about the same. I think when I first saw that, like I said in the podcast a few weeks ago, I said, I think if I were a betting person, I would probably bet the over. Just because I think the likelihood of them winning more than 3.5 games is there. If everything, again, this is all with a little asterisks. After you see Virginia in that opening few games, I mean, on paper, if you look at UVA and who they have, the talent, the potential of a lot of these athletes that is on this roster, you should bet the over, if just as a potential on itself. Now, will they go to a bowl? I would be harder for me to bet on that, but the potential is there. But I do feel like betting on the over at 3.5 games is a good bet. right now. If you look at this schedule,
Yes.
I think we both chose at least 4 games, just going over this. And there's some games that we were 50-50 on.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key here is a lot of the games are so tight because we don't know much about the ACC yet. This ACC is very different in how it looks. A lot of question marks. I mean, a lot of teams have new quarterbacks starting. The transfer portal era has changed this preseason prediction because you're like, we don't know all the pieces yet. I mean, Virginia is getting some of the transfers to enroll now. So, Brian Stevens, Jimmy Christ, those old linemen just got onto campus now. So it's hard to see how those pieces will work, but the potential is there for Virginia to win more than 3.5 games, which is right now the preseason prediction for Virginia, according to Vegas and ESPN.
Yeah, I definitely would take over 3.5 wins. We've established that. The big question, like you said, it all comes with an asterisk this preseason. There's a lot of unanswered questions in the places that score the most points. So that's going to be a do tell all, for what type of season we're going to be in. But either way, unless even with the offense that we had last year, we getting over 3.5 games. It was just it was an aura last year that just harbored us. I don't know what it was. I can't figure it out still. It was something in there. It was something.
Right now, the sense is that there is more buy-in in that locker. That
yes.
we didn't hear much of that in the season leading, like the months leading into the season, but we certainly heard it more during the first couple weeks of the season. So looks to be a good buy-in in there. And a lot of the younger guys, that was something that we heard last year and we're still hearing there. They're hungry. This younger group is hungry to get on the field. And you're seeing that, you're seeing the Trey McDonalds, you're seeing the Stevie Bracey, you're seeing the Dakota Tweedy who's practicing with the team. You're seeing these freshmen, like you're seeing Mikhail Boley, the freshman lineman. You're seeing all these linemen, first-year linemen that are coming at Noah Demerit. You're seeing all these guys that are fighting for more playing time. Terrell Jones on the D-line. Yes, you have all these experienced guys, but all those younger guys that came in as incoming freshmen, and even some of those, sophomores, those guys are really hungry to get on the field. You see, so that's where I think you're getting more of that buy-in energy. So again, it's there's potential there for this season for Virginia. So they just need to start creating more momentum to continue on that and get things going. So do you feel better as after the spring, and just final thoughts on where things kind of stand with you?
Yeah, so my final thoughts is ain't nowhere to go but up from here. And if you on down if you on down for the home team, when we was down in the mud like we was last year with the things that transpired, don't look to ride the wave when it goes all the way up. Just like you said, the young guys, we saw a lot of the young guys get into the games last season towards the end of the season, and they were actually some of the most impactful at times. So it's going to be good to see
J.R. Wilson
them being in the spot. Yep, being in the spot now and taking advantage of more playing time with that sense of, togetherness, the newfound, they want to fight for their head coach. So it's going to be good to see. And shout out to the transfers coming in, all the new guys. It's a great getting a group of guys like we just got. But I can't stress that enough. That's a good group of transfers that we pulled in. Jimmy getting back home. He done been in a big program, so he know how some things right. He gonna be at practice, serious as hell. He gonna be coming to play, and he ain't trying to let his brother down. He ain't trying to let Big Tommy down. So I'm happy for that. Brian Stevens, he a guy that's highly rated. He could have won. That young man could have won anywhere. Dion probably still tried to
best guard according to Pro Football Focus at FCS level. So, one of the best.
Uganda. He's a grown man right there. I be seeing him on Donovan Johnson Instagram story. He's a big dude. He's a people leader. He's a big guy. He's a hog molly right there in the line where you need it in the trenches to fight. Mikhail Boley coming back. His dad's an NFL linebacker. You don't think he's getting great training? He used to get on my nerves playing the Cowboys. He used to destroy Tony Romo on the regular. I expect that from his son. Same bloodline. There's things I expect. And then analytics couldn't tell me anymore about some stuff you want to add up about players' height. Malcolm Green comes home. Let's do it. I'm with it. I love the guys that they just brought in with the group of guys that we already had on defense. The young, you know what I'm saying? They brought some veteran guys in at the right positions, you know what I'm saying, on that offensive line. That's good. The quarterback. That's good. Them guys, they should come in to go to work.
Yeah, they attack the portals in a smart way. I know a lot of people get frustrated with sometimes not instant gratification in the transfer portal, but like I've explained in several of the podcasts, the transfer portal for Virginia is a long process trying to figure out who can actually get into the school before they're able to even extend an offer and extend an opportunity to visit. And then you have to manage your official visit, I guess, limitations, because you're only allowed 56 official visits total, and that includes high schoolers and transfers. So there's a lot of things that you need to figure out before offering. So focusing on kids and guys that are from the state like they did to try to get them home is certainly a good way to starting those relationships, because those guys are more than likely wanting to come home to play in front of family after being away for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years.
The moves that they made, I love the progress that we made as a program this offseason. Not no huge, loud way, you know. You don't need to be out here on Twitter winning every single battle. As long as you winning inside the office, long as them 80-something guys or 50-something guys know, and everybody's on the same page. We can't have 5 people on page 12 and 10 people on page 9. Everybody got to be on page 1 together and gradually turn the page. As long as that happened, and as I seen and as I felt, you know, at the spring game, we on the right path. You got the facilities coming. You know, it's only a matter of time before a lot of things change, and I think we're headed in the right direction.
And I think that's a good way to kind of end this episode there, DJ. But I want you to let everybody know how to find you so that they know, where to follow you on Twitter or where to listen to your podcast.
You can follow me on Twitter at OGHoo34. You know, podcast. I'm on all your platforms, Spotify, you know, Apple, iTunes, and just look up the Hill Podcast. We'll be out there. I'm going to try to this season drop every Friday, but we know I'll be adult now. Yeah, 3 kids is rough. They young, you know, so we got to keep it going, but we're going to keep it going for the people. We're going to keep all the segments rolling this year. So, you know, no matter what you do, just make sure you don't forget. It's all about this who. Don't ever forget. No matter what we do, ladies and gentlemen. You can look to the person next to you as soon as you're done listening. Just look right at your wife or your husband. Look right there in the face. They're going to be like, what? Be like, it's all about this who. And they're going to be like, oh, you're silly. Be like, no, look at them dead straight in the face again. It's all about this who. That's all it's about.
Yeah, got to make sure Carter knows that already since they're young.
Oh, yeah. He know what time it is. Carter, Sky playing softball too. UVA softball, come get you one. Come get you one.
Recruiting early. That's how it starts, right? Yeah, I got to get them early. So I appreciate you joining the show, DJ.
No doubt. It's always fun. Look forward to it every single year. That's how we get ready for this season. So this is the kickoff.
Yeah, and of course, we'll be back here next week on Tuesdays. And if you like what you're hearing, continue to subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcast. And go ahead and like this YouTube channel, like this video, so it helps us in our algorithm. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and rate us and leave us a review. Again, it'll help us continue to grow our show. But for DJ, I'm Jackie Franchuli, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.